Love Inspired and Harper Audio present K-9 Companions Collection by Tobin McClain, featuring Her Easter Prayer, performed by Tanya. His Christmas Salvation, performed by Tanya. The Veteran's Valentine Helper, performed by Kristen Kallen-Keck, and Holding On to Secrets, performed by Tanya. Her Easter Prayer. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Psalm 30, verse 5. Dedicated to my sister, who teaches adult GED students with sensible good humor and no expectation of applause. Thank you for all you do, Sue Spohr. Chapter 1. He was watching her and the students again. Emily Carver deliberately looked away from the dark-eyed handyman who kept finding things to repair in her library's teaching space. There had been a time, in her carefree 20s, when she'd have smiled at a handsome man who seemed to take an interest in her, but not anymore. Anyway, his expression wasn't flirtatious so much as curious, watchful, assessing. Well, if he had a problem with the way she conducted her reading class, or the scars on her arms, so be it. She had to shepherd 9 students on to their lunch hour, a task sometimes easier said than done with this particular group. The Bright Tomorrow's Residential Academy wasn't fancy, but most classrooms featured views of the Colorado Rocky Mountains. In early April, they were a marvel of snowfields and evergreen forests and giant boulder peaks, reaching toward a sky as blue as a baby's eyes. Emily had only to glance out a window to remind herself that God's creation was far bigger than her human-sized problems. She put on a smile, easy enough when she looked at her beloved students. "Angus, remember to keep your hands to yourself," she said to a 5th grader who was pestering the boy in front of him. "Shane, you forgot your book." "It's fine. Here you go," she added, handing the child his copy of The Secret Garden. Shane tended to burst into tears at the smallest provocation, something Emily understood quite well. She'd been there. Automatically she reached for Lady, but her service dog wasn't by her side. She looked back and saw her new student, Landon McCarthy, kneeling beside Lady, rubbing the shaggy poodle mix's cream-colored head. She double-checked that the rest of her students were under the care of the lunch aide and noticed that the hyper-observant handyman had left the library. Not that she was all that interested. No way. And then she walked back to Landon. The boy hadn't spoken during their reading class, but that was normal for new kids at Bright Tomorrow's Academy. And if petting a service dog was his worst problem, she reached the pair. "Landon, I didn't get the chance to tell you before class, but service dogs shouldn't be petted or touched while they're—" She trailed off and stared at the bright blue circles around Lady's eyes. "What are you doing? Give me that marker right now." He didn't, so she reached out and pulled it from his fingers. "Lady, down." She pointed at a spot on the floor well away from the boy. "Landon, wait right here while I make sure she's okay." "I didn't hurt her." The boy's tone was gruff. A quick check of the dog assured her that he was telling the truth. Although, she looked down at the marker. Sure enough, it was permanent. Even if Emily was able to remove the worst of the ink, Lady would be sporting blue eyeshadow for the foreseeable future. Visions of a leisurely lunchtime, the ham and cheese sandwich stowed in the teacher's lounge's refrigerator, a walk with her co-workers, faded away. It was more important to handle this behavior issue. She turned back to the child. "Landon, sit down and tell me what you were doing." "She needed decorating." He looked at his hands, also stained with blue. "Can I go to lunch?" "Why on earth did you think she needed decorating? We don't do things like that to animals. The ink could hurt her." He shrugged and stared at the floor.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?